This recording is to show you some of the basic draw commands in AutoCAD. You can locate these draw commands in your draw panel in the upper left-hand corner under the Home tab. To begin, you need to remember that AutoCAD will only do what you tell it to do, and if it needs more information, it will ask you for that information. Now, if you keep an eye down in the command line down here, those questions will be shown down there. So let's begin. Let's go ahead and draw some basic lines. Go up and click on the line button. And if you look at the bottom of the screen in the command line, you'll see that AutoCAD has been commanded to draw a line. In order to do that, it's asking us to specify the first point. So go ahead and do that. You pick a point. In the command line, it's also asking to specify the next point. And you can continue to do that and make many lines. In the command line, you'll also see options in brackets. Those options are to, one, I can close an object, or I can undo my last line that I've drawn. So I can undo by clicking on this undo here or by typing in U. I'm going to go ahead and click on undo, undo again, and it just undid the last two lines that I've drawn. Now let's say I want to close this object. I can come down and click close, and it closes that object for me. So that's the basic line command. Let's look at polylines. Polylines are different than lines. You can draw multiple lines and it will read as a single line. For example, if I click on my polyline command here, it's asking me to specify my first point down in the command line, specify my next point. I'm going to go ahead and close my object. Okay, and now if I hover over that polyline, you'll see that all 5 of those lines are being read as one line. If I hover over my individual lines in my polygon that's made up of 4 lines, they're 4 individual lines. So if you're constructing an object and you want multiple lines to read as a single line, the polyline is the command for you. The next button is the circle button. You'll notice on these buttons that there'll be a little black arrow. If you click on those black arrows, that means that you have more options. There are several different options for circles. I'll go ahead and show you the center radius option. If you click on that, you'll come out. AutoCAD's asking you in the command line to specify your center point. So I'll specify my center point, and now it's asking what is my radius that I want to draw. For my radius, let's say I wanted it to be 2. I can type in 2, enter, and it just drew a radius circle. To zoom in and out of the screen, I'm using the scroll on my mouse. If I scroll up, it zooms in. If I scroll down, it scrolls out. I can also pan by pushing down on the scroll button. You'll see the hand come up. I'm going to keep pushing down on that scroll button and I can pan my screen. This comes in handy. You can also access those tools over here in the navigation bar. All my zoom options are here, and my pan option is here as well. You've probably also noticed if you hover over a button for a period of a couple seconds, it will pop up an example of what that button will do. This comes in handy when trying to find new tools. The arc button, if you click on your options for your arc button, you can see you have several different options, and every scenario is going to call for a different type of arc. But for this tutorial, we'll start with a basic 3-point arc. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to zoom out to give myself some more space. And down in the command line, it's asking me to specify the first point. And now the second point, and now the third point. That is my 3-point arc. If I wanted to do a start center length, this is my option here. It's going to ask me, where is my start point? And then it'll ask me, where is my second point of arc. And then it'll ask me, where is the end point of my arc? So those are different arc options. Another option is you can draw a rectangle. You can also draw a polygon here. Very handy tool. But first let's do the rectangle. If I click on this button, it's going to ask me for my first corner, and then it'll ask me to pick my second corner. And that's how I construct a rectangle. For my polygon, I'm going to come back up here to my rectangle button, expand it down to polygon. Now this is nice, and make sure that you read the command line. I've just told AutoCAD to draw a polygon, and it's asking me how many number of sides do I want this polygon. Let's say I'm going to make an octagon, so let's type in 8. Now it's asking me to locate the center of my polygon. So I pick a point, and then it's asking, do I want to inscribe a circle or circumscribe about a circle? I'll go ahead and inscribe, which is by default. You can see that by the eye. So I'm going to click enter. And you can see I have a perfect octagon at whatever dimension that I find appropriate. The next option is an ellipse. There are a few ways to draw an ellipse. The first one is to find the center. The other way is to simply do it by an axis and an end. So let's go ahead and just do the first one. I'm going to click on this button, and if I read AutoCAD's command line, it's asking me to specify the center of the ellipse. Then it's asking me to find the end point of an axis, and I can construct my ellipse accordingly. Another option we have is hatch. I'll cover this in a later tutorial. Also, these panels, you'll see your little expansion arrow here. If I click on that, if I want to keep this open, there's a little push pin button that I can click here, and it'll leave that open without closing it. There's one more draw tool that I would like to show you at this point, and that is spline. Spline is a curved line that you draw with different points. This is our spline button. The spline button will locate points and make a curved line connecting those points. So for example, click on the spline button, locate a point, a second point, a third point. Okay. If you're done with that spline line, you can click enter, and it ends your spline. Those are some of the basic draw functions that you're going to need to get started in AutoCAD. We'll cover the remainder of these in a later tutorial.